The biggest news as of today is that the US Embassy in India has opened up the visa appointments for all the visa categories. Yes, they are now open, but there are also many conditions and key takeaways from their official notifications, which we are going to discuss in today's video. And also, if you are someone who is waiting to apply for an emergency request, then this video is definitely a must watch. Hello, namaste, welcome to my channel. I am Pragnya, your visa and immigration guide. If you're interested in any topics related to visas, immigration, traveling abroad, studying abroad, working abroad, then do not forget to hit the subscribe button and I will keep you updated with all the latest informations. One of the biggest news that came as of today with regards to the US Embassy in India, a long awaited news I can say, is that the embassy has opened up all the appointments for all the visa categories in India. Yes, now they are open to process visas under all the visa categories. But there are also certain pros and cons that comes attached with this announcements, and we will be discussing every single fact of this one by one. In this video, we are also going to discuss about the conditions for emergency requests. The embassy has given a list of certain conditions, certain type of factors, certain type of emergency which they are going to accept, while certain other categories of emergencies which are not going to be accepted. So if you are waiting to see whether you are qualifying for an emergency request or not, then make sure you watch the video till the end. The first takeaway from this official notification of the US Embassy in India is that although they have opened up the visa categories, all the visa categories, there is going to be a significant wait time. Yes. Thousands of people have been waiting since long for the visa categories to open, and now when it is open, the wait is going to be long. So expect certain delays, expect that you are going to have to wait for your visa appointments. Even if you are trying since long, you are going to get dates maybe for later part of the year or for the next year. I can say the wait is going to be significantly long, so be prepared accordingly. The second takeaway from the official notification is about requesting emergencies. Yes, what we also known as the emergency appointments. So the very first thing with regards to emergency appointment that they have told is you can request for an emergency appointment only if you are having an in-person appointment in your hand. Yes, let me make it clear. It means you are having an interview appointment already booked, but you are in a rush to travel, you can't wait so long for your interview appointment. In that case, in that situation, you can apply for an emergency appointment. But the next part to this notice is that what to do if you're having a Dropbox appointment. So for all those who are having a Dropbox appointment and you're interested to get an emergency request, in that case, you have to cancel your Dropbox appointment before applying for an emergency appointment with the US Embassy. And yes, the given date, your Dropbox date is going to be forfeited, and there is also no guarantee that your emergency request is going to be approved. So because they are told that they are getting thousands of requests for emergency every single day, so yes, based on their criteria and various other factors, there are chances that your request might get rejected. So if you are someone who is having a Dropbox appointment, there is a certain risk, I can say, because your date is going to be forfeited and there is no guarantee that your emergency request is going to be approved or not. And yes, if you want to know what are the criteria of this approval of emergency requests, then make sure you watch the video till the end, because we will also be discussing that what type of emergencies are going to be accepted and what type of emergencies are not going to be accepted. The next takeaway from the notification of US Embassy is that what to do if you are qualifying for a Dropbox. So suppose you are already having a US visa, so you know the protocol by now. You have to answer 5 questions, and then if you are qualifying for Dropbox, you will automatically be redirected to the Dropbox page. But what to do if you want an emergency appointment? They have already told you need to have an in-person appointment to go for an emergency request. So in that case, while selecting the answers before booking your slot, before going to the appointment page, when you are asked the 5 questions, in that you get a question, whether have you held a US visa previously? So you will be getting a similar question. In that case, you have to answer the question as no. So when you put no, you will automatically be qualifying for in-person appointment. Book your in-person appointment and then you will be eligible to go for emergency request. So this is the protocol for all those who are believe that you are qualifying for Dropbox and are trying for the same. If you do not want Dropbox, if you want to go for in-person appointment and you want to raise an emergency request, then answer the question, have you held a US visa previously? Answer the question no and go for a regular in-person appointment and thereafter go for an emergency request. Now that we have a fair idea of how you can apply an emergency request, let us also have a look on the certain factors or all those cases who qualify for being approved under the emergency request. Yes. So they have listed down a few categories of situations in which you will qualify for an emergency request. Basically, they have given 4 situations. The first situation is you should be eligible or you should be requiring a life-saving medical treatment in US. Yes, you will be requiring a life-saving medical treatment in US. In that scenario, your emergency request is going to be accepted. Secondly, if there is a death of an immediate family member, and they have also given that who qualifies to be an immediate family member. So this can be parents, child, sibling or your spouse. If anyone within this range, parents, children, spouse or siblings passes away, in that case, you will be qualifying to raise an emergency request. If you raise an emergency request, it is most probably going to be accepted. The third situation is that if you are enrolled in certain university and your program date, your program start date is within 14 days window of your when you are raising your emergency request, then most probably your emergency request is going to be accepted because your program is going to be starting within 14 days. You really need to go to US before that so that you will be able to attend. Then yes, go for that emergency request now and you will most probably be accepted. And the fourth case scenario is that if you are having a very crucial business deal in US, if you have to travel, you are a high-level executive and you have to travel in support of a large pending business deal in US, then of course your emergency request is going to be accepted in that case. So make sure you are falling within these 4 categories to check whether your emergency request is going to be accepted or not. Now, let us also discuss many other scenarios in which you feel that your emergency request might get accepted, but these are the scenarios which has been specifically given by the US Embassy that it is not going to be approved. So let us discuss 4 or 5 of such scenarios. So the first scenario that they have given is a routine vacation. If you are planning for a routine vacation, you have to go and meet family, friends or just go and tour the place, then you cannot raise an emergency request on that basis. Secondly, if you are on a H-1B visa, you have come to India, you want to raise an emergency request to go back to your employment, then I'm really sorry. Unfortunately, you will not qualify to raise an emergency appointment on that basis. So H-1B holders, if you want to return to employment and that is your basis of emergency, then you are not going to be approved on that for that reason. The third one, if you're planning on attending a wedding or graduation ceremony, then really sorry, you will not be granted emergency for that purpose. The next category, if you are planning on attending the birth of your grandchild, many cases in India has been seen that parents want to go to US in order to support their children during birth for their grandchildren, then definitely this is not considered as an emergency, and yes, your emergency is not going to be accepted in that in this scenario. And the last situation that they have stated is that if you're traveling for a meeting with any internal partners or regular business travel, then this is also not qualifying as an emergency and your emergency request is not going to be approved in this scenario. So if you fall within any of these cases or similar cases, then unfortunately your emergency request is not going to be approved. In the last section of this video, we will be discussing certain tips that the embassy has given that you should definitely keep in mind while an emergency request. So the only tip or the biggest tip that they have given is that documentation and proper evidence. Yes, whenever you are filing for an emergency, make sure you give sufficient supporting documents to support your cause or to support your emergency. Whatever is the reason of your emergency, give supporting evidences or documentation in favor of it. Let's say you are going for a life-saving treatment in US, then give the doctor's note, hospital note, whatever relevant documents are there. Provide everything while you apply for emergency so that they know that the cause is genuine. So whatever is your reason, you have to give proper sufficient evidence and documents so that to increase your chances of being approved. So this was all about the requesting emergency for all those in-person appointment holders, for all those waiting since long to travel to US. So finally a good news has come that they have opened up appointments for all the visa categories, and now it's time that you become lucky and of course get those appointments. And if you are in a rush, then definitely try for an emergency request. Make sure you qualify for the same before you try. But by the time you do all this, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button. That will keep me motivated, and I will keep you posted with all the latest information and news that comes around. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.